my goodness. Hey. Hi guys, how are you? It's Anne again. I'm back. How's everyone doing? I hope everyone is having a good time. Today I want us to talk about myself and I want us to talk about my life experiences. What really motivates me and how I like to learn about every experience. And so today I want to talk about what I learned about when I was learning how to ride not really a motorbike. it's a bicycle. So I recently learned how to ride a bicycle, and I like to learn. I like to learn every little thing, whether it's a new dance style, whether it's something new at work, whether it's a new formula, whether it's a new recipe. Uh, whether it's something new that my babies have taught me, I really like to learn, probably because I'm a very good listener. I just like to learn new things. And, well, so some people might take just anything that happens to them, like everyday circumstances, just normal. But for me, I like, by the end of the day, so the circumstances of that day, I like to learn from every experience, whether it's a good experience, whether it's a bad experience. I like to learn from it. The other day I started learning to ride a bike, and there are a few things that I learned about life. So I learned that when you wanna do something, when you really purpose to do something, you really like something and you want to do it, the first thing that you need to do, number one, is to set goals. So you need to set a goal for what you want. So I realized that these values that I applied when I was learning how to do it, you can apply them in life, you can apply them in anything that you do, whether it's a job you're trying to seek, whether it's a degree you're trying to achieve, whether it's a diploma, whether it's a certificate, it does not matter what you're trying to achieve in life. We all have things that we want to achieve. Probably it's short-term goals, probably it's long-term goals. Maybe you're in school and you're trying to get your doctorate, whether you're trying to learn a new dance style, whether it's your family, you're trying to get it to the next level, or whatever it is. So I feel like these little values that I applied in my new thing that I learned can really be helpful. So number one, I said it's setting goals. So you have to set a goal, you have to know where you're going. What do you really want? Like for me, I really knew that I wanted to learn how to uh, ride a bicycle for one reason or the other. I really wanted to learn so that I can be able to do it with my son. I wanted to, when he goes out riding, I wanted to go with him because I really didn't know how to ride, and I'm trying to teach him how to do it. But then I'm telling him, please do these and maybe go faster and pedal faster, but I really don't know how to do it. So I kind of like to teach by example. So I like to lead by example. That's what I would say. So I kind of thought, let me do this. And when I'm telling him, you have to pedal faster, oh, this is how you go on a bike, I really know what I'm talking about. Well, not to say that his dad is not doing it, it's him, but then at times when I'm just alone, me and him, and we want to go do it together, I kind of like to know what to throw in there. So that is why I did it. That's why I set a goal. I want to do it, and I wanted to do it in a short span of time. And guess what? I learned how to go a full cycle in 4 days. So that means I had a goal. I didn't actually think I was going to do it in 4 days. I thought it was going to take around 2 months, or maybe, who knows, maybe 6 months. But I knew I was going to learn eventually. So the second thing that the second point or the second value that I really applied was commitment. So I was really committed to the goal. I was really committed to wanting to learn this new hobby. I can call it a hobby because it's become like a hobby to me nowadays. Every time I come from work, I just take my bike and I go around the neighborhood. So it's kind of become like a hobby to me. So I learned commitment really. I had to commit myself. Like every time I came home, or every time I wanted to go ride the bike, and my instructor was like, "No, this is what we're going to do. This is how. This is the baby steps that we're going to take." That's how I did it. I had to like be committed to listening, be committed to uh, learning. I had to be committed to the time because he used to tell me like we have to do it every day. We have to go riding the bicycle every day. We have to go around the neighborhood. You have to do it consistently so that you can be able to achieve your goal. So you have to be committed to your goal. So whatever it is, you have to be committed to it. You have to set your mind and say, I have to do this. So that is what happens when you get committed to something. So number three. Number three is consistency. So when you're committed to something, you're consistent about it. So you don't do it today and then tomorrow you're like, no, I'm not gonna do it. No. You have to be consistent on what you want. If you really want to achieve something, you have to be consistent on what you do. Like if you're trying to, let's say for example, you're trying to achieve, or maybe it's a football team, you're in a football team and you're trying to practice and you want to win. So you have to be consistent on practice. You have to practice every day. That is consistency. So let's say, for example, it's what are you trying to do? Maybe you're trying to learn salsa, maybe it's Zumba, whatever you're trying to do. Maybe you're trying to learn scuba diving. Maybe you're trying to learn how to swim. Or maybe you are trying whatever it is that maybe you're trying to learn a new language. You have to be consistent in what you do. You don't do it once and then you do it next week. Maybe this week you do it once, next week you do it twice. No, you have to do it every day. You have to be consistent in the ways that you want to learn something. You have to be consistent. And number three, for you to be consistent and for you to be committed, you have to be disciplined. Without discipline, there is no commitment. So you have to discipline yourself. You have to tell yourself that no, I have to do this. Sometimes I used to come home and I'm tired from work and I just want to lazy around, sit there and probably catch a movie and maybe relax. But guess what? I had to discipline myself. I had to say no, and you have to get up. You have to be disciplined. We said we are going to do this at 5 o'clock. If it's 5 o'clock, I have to be disciplined that I have to do it. If we said we need to do it every day, then I have to do it every day because that is called discipline. Then if my instructor told me no, you have to start by going small steps at a time. That's what I do because if you don't be disciplined, and if you're not disciplined, is also about listening. So if you don't listen to your instructor, if you don't follow instructions, then that doesn't count as discipline. So what happened someday? I just decided the first day actually I wasn't really disciplined enough, and what happened is I was kind of like, how hard can this riding a bike be? So what I did, I waited for my instructor to kind of get out of my side, and what I did is like, let me try a new trick. So guess what happened? I learned it. I learned it on my back so hard that from that day I decided I'm gonna start listening. So that is what happens when you don't listen. That's what happens when you're not disciplined enough. When you don't know how to follow instructions. Following instructions comes with discipline. So that's what happened. And I ended up with a bruise. That was my first bruise because I did not listen, because I wasn't disciplined enough. So you have to be disciplined. If it's about something, if you're trying to pass a test, you have to be disciplined. You have to do it every day. You have to say, no, I cannot watch a movie. I have to go to class. I have to go to the library. I have to finish a few tests. I have to do two tests. I have to practice some tests. It comes with discipline. You have to know when to go out having some fun, when to go socialize, all kinds of stuff. You have to learn how to discipline yourself, to set some limits for yourself. That's also discipline. That is number 4. Well, then we have to come to number 5 and probably my final point. So when you're displaying, you also to couple that with or to couple that with everything else, you have to be diligent, or you have to work really hard. Um, Without hard work, without having to work really hard, nothing comes easy. So you just don't sit and wait for things to happen. So you have to really work hard at what you're trying to achieve. So for me, I really had to work hard. I really had to um, do what like go riding my bike every day and do it, especially when on a steep slope. You have to do it on a steep slope at times, and you have to kind of work your legs really hard. So you have to really work hard, and that applies to every life situation. Whatever you're trying to achieve, whatever you need, you have to really work hard in it. You have to work hard, you have to work yourself, you have to wake up very early, you have to go to work, you have to wake up very early, go to the library, if that's what you're trying to do. You have to wake up hard and do some practice. That's what happens. You have to work really hard at something. And you maybe it's at work, you have to wake up hard and go meet your targets. You just don't sit there and wait for things to happen. Everything comes with hard work and diligence. So that is another thing. That is another life value that I learned. And I guess that wasn't my last point. I have something else. Finally, that I want to say is about being open-minded and knowing that everything has risks. So right now, I'm trying to heal a sprain, guys. Look at that. So what happened? I just so I was riding a small bike initially. I started with a bike that went down to my just a little bit below my waistline bike, such that when I was on it, I could step down. But then I decided to challenge myself one day when actually it's last weekend when I went to visit a friend, and we didn't have a bike that's short to my level. So what happened? I got a bike that's really high and the seat couldn't go low, and I didn't know there was a difference between riding a shorter bike and a bike that's a little higher than myself. So guess what? I didn't know that when you're coming down from a higher bike, you had to come to the middle, or maybe you had to go and step down on a higher ground. So I felt like I was wobbling, and I stepped down with my foot, and it kind of twisted, and I went learning down, and it was so painful. That was one of the most painful things that have ever happened to me. So I twisted my foot, and I've been healing a sprain since then. It's better now. I've been stabilizing it with this ASRAP right here, and it's really getting better. But guess what? I knew there were risks, but I wasn't scared. So you have to know there always risks with everything. So I kind of knew there were risks. I knew they say that when you're trying something new, especially when you're when you're learning how to ride a bicycle, before you get some bruises, you haven't learned. So probably that's my first bruise. It's not really bad, but it was really off, guys. It was so painful. My leg was so swollen the following day. But guess what? I haven't given up. I can't wait to get back on that bike and go around. And actually, before I knew it was that bad, I twisted it, and then I didn't think it was that serious. So I was like, I need to move this leg. I need to keep it moving. So actually, I landed on the ground, and the next minute I took my bike, I just wrapped it on my S-wrap and continued riding. But then the following morning, it was so swollen, and that's it. But I haven't given up yet. I know I can't wait to get back on it. So my foot is getting better now. But I learned that you have to be open-minded. You have to know that there are risks and there are setbacks. But what happens when there's setbacks? What happens when you hit the rock and maybe something sets you back on your goal? You're going so smoothly, and something happens, and there you are. Maybe you're going downhill, or you're down on your ground. What happens? Do you just stop there? No. You just brush yourself off and get up, and you do it again, because that is what happens when you have a goal. You keep your eyes on the goal. You keep looking forward. You keep thinking about where you want to go. Where do you really want to achieve? What do you really want? What do you really want for yourself? It's about what you want today. What is your short-term goal? What is that you really want to achieve today? That is what you work towards. That is what you work for. That is what you work for. Today is the day for you. So my mom used to tell me that you have to work so hard like you will never work before. So what is that thing that you're really working hard for? What do you really want to achieve today? So if there is something that you want to achieve today, please work hard at it like you will never work tomorrow, and then you're going to achieve your goal. And also do not forget to pray. Always remember to pray, and God is going to enable us. So guys, that is it for today. If you love my videos, please subscribe and like my videos and share, and do not forget to click the notification bell so that every time I upload a video, you'll be the first to see it. Bye bye and good night. Mwah.